Speaking of Joe Burrow, I don't know how long he's going to be out. It seems like he's going to be out for the first few weeks, but they keep on saying several weeks. I don't know what several weeks is exactly. Do you think Burrow is out for the first 3 weeks, or what do you think's up with that with his injury?
It's hard to know because it's a calf strain. So
Mhm.
it depends on the grade of what kind of strain it is. I know that Aaron Rodgers strained his calf back in, I guess, mini camps earlier in the year. That first stint that they had, like, what is that, in end of May, early June,
Mhm.
when he was with the team. And he's 40 something years old, or 38 years old, 39 years old. And he came back and looks fine right now in the practices. Of course, he's not going to play in a preseason game. So if I had to guess, a young kid like Burrow, they want to be careful, obviously, because of his knee injury history. But if I had to guess, I would guess he will be back for week 1. That's just a guess I throw out there. If they want to be extra cautious with him, maybe they do hold him out a couple of weeks. But it's a tough AFC. You can't get behind. That
Mhm.
division's going to be good. I mean, what if Deshaun Watson is the same quarterback he was 2 years ago,
Mhm.
right? What if Kenny Pickett takes the next step? Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season. Or if Lamar Jackson stays healthy all year. He was on pace to win MVP last year before he got hurt. I'm
Mhm.
telling you, I've seen Lamar Jackson. I watch every game in person the last couple of years. He is the most special player when he's on. That team
Mhm.
could be really good also. So you can't fall too far behind in that division or in this conference. I don't want to punt the season. And maybe this goes back to something that we talked about with that franchise, that Cincinnati Bengals kind of being a bad franchise. Maybe they're holding him out to kind of get some leverage in negotiations with him, which I think would also be the wrong move.
Mhm. Well, I mean, yeah, I think Jamar Chase said something where if they hold him for the first 5 weeks, they'll be fine. But that AFC is so loaded. In the NFC, they could probably afford to do that or something like that. But I mean, the last 2 years, Lamar Jackson before his injury, and I'm a little biased because I'm a huge Lamar Jackson fan, but he was on pace to be an MVP both years until he got hurt. The Steelers, they're not going to be they're kind of like the Patriots right now, a little better, but they're not going to be a slouch. They're still going to be very competitive. Deshaun Watson, as you mentioned, I just think that it's a little risky to do that. And I think maybe the first 2 weeks I understand, but they play the Ravens in week 2 right away. And they definitely don't want to get behind Baltimore. Now, they would play them again, but it just that division outside of the AFC East is probably the best division in football. So we'll see what happens with Burrow. But I just think that, yeah, and what you mentioned too with holding out for leverage and stuff like that, I wouldn't be surprised if Cincinnati would do anything or would do something like that. And is there anything else you want to add to that? Or
Yeah, I mean, I think you said they could have been the best division in football. They have a higher upside than the AFC East. I think there's problems. There's question marks in Buffalo. We don't know what's going on with Stephon Diggs, but I think there's something there.
Mhm.
There's the injury history with Tua. Aaron Rodgers is 40 years old. The Patriots, I don't love the talent on their roster. Whereas if you look at the AFC North, where are the question marks in that division? You really think Deshaun Watson is just not the same guy anymore? It's hard to believe. Okay, maybe Lamar Jackson can't stay healthy, but if he does, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And of course, I think you're not giving Pittsburgh enough credit. They were a playoff team last year. They won a playoff game. They're a really good football team, right? Or am I mistaken by that? Cincinnati that they played
Yeah.
in.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I screwed that
It
up
was
twice. But
2 years ago they made the playoffs, and then
right,
yeah, two
last
years
year, what were
ago
they? Eight and nine, or
they were 9-8 because they started off 6-8, but then won their last 3 games, so they could have another something like that.
right. The point is, they're a really good team. Kenny Pickett could get a year better. The defense is good. They have, I mean, crazy good wide receivers and running backs. If Najee Harris has another good year, I don't know. It's just odd that you think you would just, that division could be really, really good, and to throw
Mhm.
away a few games at the beginning of the year, like you said, I don't see it.